takes a deep breath and stares at the stone floor. There was a loud noise and a big light in the sky. Everybody thought it was a storm. But then people started waking up. After they died, She twists her shredded sleeve into knots. Mother and father and Emilio boarded up the door, but the hungry people found our house. Her fidgeting becomes more agitated. They fought, but the hungry people always kept getting up. They broke to the door, and Mother told me to hide. Then I came here to hide, but the door got stuck. I didn't know when it would be safe outside. You need to get out of here. Is it safe? Are the hungry people out there? It's still dangerous, but the path to the main gate should be clear. Run for it. I won't let anything catch me. I promise. Since headed out to the district, she couldn't stay in too much longer. The way back was clear. Alright. The staff. He seems to be studying its engravings. As you watch, the engravings glow thinly red, like through the cracks of a heat-suffused wood. The lines stream like molten metal, burning along the edges of his staff, then branch out in intricate series of fiery veins, bunching thickly where his hands clutch the wood, pulsing as if a heartbeat. As you watch, the veins spiral into a dozen separate circles that spiral again until they are arranged in a circle of their own. They pulse, wait, and all strangely silent. And then suddenly there's a great light from the fire, a rushing of air, a great flash, and then you awaken again. See Endurance in the same place, still holding his staff, but he is solid, real. He doesn't seem to have noticed you or reacted to what occurred. Does something else ail you? I had a question I wanted to ask you.
If doubts and curiosity plague you, you're skinning your knuckles on the wrong door.
I saw something strange. You were sitting by a fire. I saw a great light from your staff.
Tell me what you saw.
It was a flash like an explosion, a rushing of air, incredibly bright.
It is the light of the Godhammer you saw.
The Godhammer, what about it?
It was a weapon of Deerwood's people, a symbol of their independence. It saved the Deerwood.
What do you know about it?
It brought the Saints' War to an end, knocked a god from his perch. There are few that would deny Eothas overstepped. The Godhammer reminded Eothas of it.
You're insane.
You saw its light because I helped shape it, give it life, and release it into the world. Once seen, its glory is almost too bright to be believed, and too bright to be forgotten.
You helped build the God Hammer?
There were 12 of us. We fashioned the weapon, drafted plans for it, prayed for guidance at Ashfall, and it came to me there. Each of us were given a staff made from the forest of black trees around us, glowing with embers and fire far greater than this branch you see now. It felt as if the staff was Margaren's own finger, guiding my hand, guiding the other 11, the shadows of the 12 who had come to stand on the bridge to stop Aethys.
Shadows of the 12?
Even in that stand, there was a ritual to it. For the 12 that stood on the bridge, there were a dozen shadows cast, a dozen faithful of Margaren, her fiercest supporters and shapers of the Godhammer.
Durrance rests the staff in front of him, and the flame top of it curls for a moment, the light flaring slightly. It splits into a ring of flames, one after another, till a dozen is met.
As 12 held Aethys fast, we 12 unleashed our prayers and let the Godhammer fall.
Then it blossoms brightly once and resumes its candle intensity. In the aftermath, the shadows seem sharper in the vicinity, as if they have edges, and you blink to clear your vision. Durrance is still staring at the tiny candle-like flame intently.
Shadows cast by the fire of the Godhammer, perhaps. And we shared their fate as well in time. Now the spine of the Deerwood is marked by the Godhammer, marked by Margaret.
What do you mean you shared their fates?
Not all deaths come with stilled breath and stilled heart, or other stilled passions beneath the waste. Some deaths come from silence. The connection we once shared with Margaren, after the light of the Godhammer, it was not the same. It was as if we'd lost our senses, and sense of purpose as well. Instead of victory being welcomed, there was silence, within and without. Not many can claim to have killed a god. It is less a heroic tale than you would think. And such a death, it changed our faith. All faiths, I expect. Doubt followed, and the world changed. I do not believe Margaren was pleased by what we had done.
Why is that?
The world is broken. The wheel stilled. There is sickness in the world's heart. Perhaps the price of crossing a god. Crossing 2 gods. Even as Margaren shaped our hands, perhaps we carried her will farther than was allowed. Just as Widewind did. Saint Widewind. Mortal arrogance to match mortal arrogance. Yet if the world had changed, then I sought to change with it. If I had forgotten some of Margaren's teachings, I would find them again. I would make her see me again.
I've got some other questions about the God Hammer. What is it? What did you do after that?
I remembered Margaren's teachings. How reminders on the flesh were more important than the death of a vessel. And I wondered if killing Aethys, if that had simply set him free. Had it allowed him to escape his punishment and be taken on the wheel, like a mortal? As I stepped from the now blessed Godhammer Bridge, I thought of Ashfall. I thought of the War of Black Trees, wondered if I needed to be burned to find myself again. That is Margaren at her heart. At least that is my hope. These are the doubts that befall me.
What happened when you returned to Ashfall?
The road to Ashfall is long. Gives one time to think. And if you think long enough, you do not go home. I left without telling anyone, with only the robes I wore at Halgot, my staff, and my name, which is long buried. Of my fellow 11 craftsmen, disciples, I know not what happened to them, if they suffered the same doubt as I did. But it was underserved. It was wrong. We had done all that Or had asked. Grab victory from defeat and...
You feel as if your god betrayed you.
There is something about being used and cast aside. Perhaps Widewen himself felt it. There at the end, when the hammer struck. To be the proof that your god is hollow as the vessel it inhabits. I tried to find purpose, and avoided all contact with other Magranic priests, did not seek the walls of Ashfall, and sought to make amends to my god through actions. I joined with the Purges for a time, and not long after came the first signs of the Hollowborn. So many crimes, trespasses, violations. The Salvation. Animancers were another sickness born of the Saints' War. A relapse of innovation, of desperation to heal what we had caused. All seemed worse than before the bridge, not better. And as years passed, the world became even worse still for the victory.
Now I see why you call your goddess a whore. She jilted you and you still pine for her. Sweat collects in the sooty creases of his forehead and runs down his ruddy cheeks. It drips from the tips of his nose. His mouth moves, but his utterances make no sound. He is for once at a loss. Filling your gaze, he quickly composes himself, wiping his forehead with the back of a dirty hand.
Huh? Worship the whims of some fickle bitch, and you'll never be more than dirt beneath her feet. Worship what she worships, on the other hand. Take her fire for your own, and her esteem comes on its own. Of course, by that time you no longer need it. Trial and transformation, sure as Durance taught.
Durance glares at you. Staring into his eyes gives you the feeling of peering over the edge of a great cliff.
You think to put the coals to my feet, but what's burned once will never burn again. These talks are your trial, Watcher. You cannot deflect the truth to one who has already been purified by it.
Tell me what happened on the bridge. We chose the bridge because we could control it. Durance's hands tighten at the top of the staff, as if holding it by the neck. It was a place where we could choke Ithos in his own footsteps, where we knew his steps would fall, a narrow neck of stone. But there was more than that. It was the spine of the steelwood, symbolic of its backbone. Such symbols are important in the construction of a weapon. Durance studies his staff, his eyes traveling along the etchings. Any weapon. Durance's face hardens and his eyes burn, his eyebrows narrowing. I suspect Eothas knew that as well, and so did his vessel in its arrogance. His hand tightens on the staff. He intended to walk upon the bridge as if walking on the backs of the deerwood, and he intended to burn them with the light of our faith and his 12 bridge. 12 on the bridge, 12 in the shadow, and gave ourselves to it. Gave yourselves to it?
We put much of ourselves into the Godhammer. Such a device is not simply a machine. There are elements of the spirit in it, even Widewind's spirit.
Elements of the spirit?
Each of the 12 who brought the Godhammer forth would have done anything to save the Deerwood, save its people. It is why we were chosen. Each of us hated this pretender. That rage, that spirit, that rebellion went into our work, and went into studying him as well.
Widewin, why?
We all studied Widewin. He was our enemy, and he had provided the flesh the god wore as a cloak. That flesh made him vulnerable. I knew what fields his hands had tilled, his family, what he had harvested, where he had been born. We sought to know him, what had led him to fight us.
Why was that important?
You don't kill the god. You kill the man it inhabits. And you leave that man a ruin. Burn him to ash. The weapon was meant to not only burn his flesh, but it would burn his soul. And it did. At the cost of our own. And at the cost of our goddess's favor. That whore be damned.
Is that why your image was blurred in the dream? Turns, frowns, glances you with sharp look. Perhaps your eyes were blinded by the god's hammer light watcher. He snorts. I may feel half a man at times, but even that is twice that of most others.
If you fear for my spirit, your fears are baseless. The Godhammer, seeing its light, only fueled my anger and made me stronger, made me re-examine the teachings of Margren, put them in a new light.
It looks as though there's only a part of you, as if your spirit had been sheared in half.
I do not need you to cast any more questions on me, Watcher. Nor did I ask you to look upon me without my leave. Get gone, and leave me be.
Coward. Continue to get to know Durns revealed to me that he was one of the engineers of the God Hammer bomb. Must be more to him than he isn't telling me. At least not yet.
I'll take care of it. Laying low. Rave al Philathilim.
Hey,
On your word.
what is it? So much for you.
Light, flame, and sound. We'll keep to ourselves.
What is it?
Rave al Philathilim.
What?
How may I help?
Following your lead.
Ready, Watcher.
What is it?
Get him!
Hey.
Hi?
What?
Hi? Huh?
What?
Yes?
Ready, Watcher.
How may I help? I?
On your word.
Hey.
How may I help?
Point the way.
Hey.
This isn't working!
Lava will be unseated.
On your word.
Yes?
Following your lead.
Hmm?
Lava will be unseated.
Yes?
Point the way.
Yes?
Watch out, Connor!
Hey.
I?
that were thunder.
Fellows down! Hmm?
Yes?
That were thunder.
Get your blood!
Ready, Watcher.
Aye?
Hmm? Can't move! Point the way. Shit!
I'll take care of it. Yes?
Brave Dalfilathilim. Following your lead.
I'm here.
Aye?
Yes?
This isn't working!
Aye? How may I help?
Hey.
On your word.
Hmm?
How may I help?
What?
Thing isn't doing the job.
Yes.
How may I help?
Following your lead.
Point the way.
Yes?
Ready, Watcher. Hmm?
On your word. So sorry!
What is it? What?
I?
Yes?
What?
How may I help? Hmm?
What is it? What is it?
I?
Lava will be unseated.
Yes. What?
On your word.
Lava will be unseated.
Well? What? Yes. What is it?
Aye?
Dead on!
Lava.
What? Well?
Aye? Hey.
Point the way.
Lava will be unseated.
If the Alsatian.
What?
How may I help?
What?
Doesn't wake up.
Yes? How may I help?
Hey. Yes. What? Hey.
Yes?
Well? Don't even...
How may I help?
Hmm?
Hmm?
Don't even...
Hmm?
Yes.
Get top lad!
Yes?
Yes.
Yes?
What?
How may I help?
Lava. Beyond seeking.
What is it?
I'm here.
Aye?
What? Well?
Lava beyond.
How may I help?
What? What?
How may I help? How may I help?
Sunra. Beyond. See.
What?
Yes?
So much for our mighty hunter. Curses!
Lavaro. Beyond.
Fiery horrors!
Yes?
Goddess!
Yes?
Not very quiet.
Though not one of the large fangs from which the Stelgars are famed, this sharp tooth is nonetheless impressive.
I'll take care of it.
The massive door of the tower is sealed. There doesn't appear to be any way of opening it.
I'm on the trail.
There, that's the nice man that helped me. And thank the Iron Arm for it. We'll get you sorted out at the keep. You've gained reputation with the Knights of the Crucible. You've gained reputation with the Defiance Bay. Major. Nice. Interesting.
Hail, traveler.
I see the stench hasn't driven you away yet. Yeah. Farewell. Won't be long before we're a formal knighthood.
Good day, stranger.
It's just, the man continues to work life. Trying to find out what happened to someone. Man closes the door. We've had a number of inquiries about such things, blah blah blah. Seems like a lot. Yeah, I've heard it before. Perhaps if you're more established, I am more established. Perhaps there's something peculiar about the record keeper's inflection. Right? The stars on your ribs. You're a prisoner. Was once, now I'm happily free to do my job. Which frees you? What brings you to the keep?
Good day, stranger.
Aldmir gives you an appraising eye. Judging by the scars on his face, he's lucky to be able to do that much. Every day we get more from the hinterland pouring into Defiance Bay. Keeps us busy on the watch, it does. Look like you recently arrived yourself. Who are you? Soldier of the Crucible Knights. I'm proud of it. Help keep everything running at the keep so that Commander Cliver can focus on more important matters. Looking for something or just knocking dirt off your boots? What goes on at the Crucible Keep? This is the headquarters of the Crucible Knights, so it's where we store arms and armor as well as many other of our soldiers' bunk. Commander Cliver in the back, making plans, as usual. Scratches his scarred cheek. You'll find the forge at the west end of the building, along with a Mastersmith Dunstan. There's also a shrine to the Golem, if you're praying type. Tell me about the Crucible Knights. We're the defenders of Defiance Bay. We're not exactly a formal knighthood, but don't tell Commander Cliver I said that, he grins. We're the first organized militia to oppose the Deern rule. Today we're the largest force in the city. Our soldiers undergo years of combat training, and officers are required to have their souls read by the critter out in Deern Road. What's this about Deern Road? Just a requirement of Crucible Knights. So our hires up know there's nothing messy built in your soul's path. All near wide in the stance. Keeping the ranks pure is fine by me. I just wish they were more careful in hiring your cipher. What's wrong with your ciphers? Shifts his weight and glances at the empty halls. They're mostly Orlans. I'm sure they're talented enough, but you just can't trust them. Hostility in their nature, and they've learned to hide it over the years. He frowns across his arms. All I'm saying is that they should at least be supervised by other folk. That's reasonable enough, isn't it? Well, people treated them better. You wouldn't have to worry about them being so hostile. Alma shrugs. Just speaking the truth. Nowadays, seems like that's the biggest crime of all. That's all. See ya. Record back of the patrol report crimes and Islander's gift. The latter's far outnumbers the former.
If this is about the breastplates, I already told Cleaver they won't be repaired till next week.
Show him the pieces of the blade of endless path. Found there's several fragments of ancient sword. Do you think you can repair it? Dunstan gives a little bit. That's one fine blade indeed. Holds one fragment in his left hand. Looks daring, special made. Must have been a commission for a champion of some sort. Hands the shard back to you. Sword of this caliber would have had a specially designed hilt too. It would be a shame to graft anything else onto it. Besides, it'll balance best with all the original pieces. If you find the rest of them, I'll forge it for you. What do you do
I'm
here?
a forge master. I'm a master smith for the Crucible Knights. But the way I see it, I'm also keeping up with our old traditions. The first members of our order were smiths. Nowadays, most everyone's a professional soldier. I suppose it's to be expected, but I think it's important we keep up with our roots, too.
Okay. I know about the knights.
We were all smiths back in Hodred's day, though I'm about the only one here who still gets his hands dirty. We're a fearsome fighting force, though these days I think Cleaver takes more pride in our parade formations.
He thinks himself a progressive man, but he's obsessed with soul lineages and connections to the Deerwood heroes of old. Picks up his hammer again. Other than Deer and Roe, who really knows about any of that, though? Bye.
We just don't have the manpower. Refugees from every corner of the Deerwood. The dozens getting them all riled up about animancy. At this rate, we'll need twice the soldiers to patrol Defiance Bay. Yes? Can I help you with something?
Why don't you have enough soldiers?
Fleetbreaker Castle. The High Justice has summoned almost half of my novitiates and more of my justiciars to a keep on the other side of New Hailmar. It's not for me to question the High Justice's orders, but it's left us short-handed. And mark me, we're just a couple sparks away from anarchy.
There's so many newcomers, can't you just recruit more soldiers? More recruits mean more training, which means more time from experienced soldiers that I don't have. Turns away from you. Anyhow, I hardly see how this is any of your concern. If you got time to ask me about it, then perhaps you got time to do something constructive. Forge Master Dunson's working with an animancy scholar, build what they're calling Forge Knights. Warriors that can patrol our street without suffering fatigue, disobedience, or fear. Some agitator threw a rock at him. We don't have to worry about them getting out of hand. He's constructed the armor. We need the scholar's research. Unfortunately, she hasn't been around for the last few times my novations have checked. Vienna lives with the rest of the Scriveners out in Copper Lane, but I haven't the soldiers to spare at the moment. Go to Scrivener's dormitory and see if you can find her. When get the research, bring it to Dunson. This is his area of expertise anyway. Once you brought him to research, he can sell you any armor or arms you need. Forgers and purse all our equipment. Won't find more capable smith in Defiance Bay. So you're in charge of the Crucible Knights. Here in Defiance Bay anyhow. The High Justice is the leader of our order, but he's currently stationed at Fleetbreaker Castle. My job is to oversee our forces in Defiance Bay and keep order for the Duke. Madness. Commander Cliver, the Knight's Crucible has a plan to address the shortage of trained soldiers. He asked Ford Master Dunson to construct Forge Knights, soldiers made from suits or armor. Uh-oh. This guy is putting souls in people. Not doing that. Pure madness.
Elegant yet understated. I had no idea. Of course.
Braved Alfilathilim.
Bite the bait. Yes.
Yes? Hmm?
On your word.
Point the way.
What? Yes.
How may I help?
What is it?
Yes?
Yes. What is it?
I?
Point the way.
How may I help?
Yes? I have them!
Hey.
Well? 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 So much for you! I have them!
I savaged them.
As you wish.